Hey, you're back. Mark Milliron with the Gates Foundation, here with Josh Jarrett, the Gates Foundation, here to start a dialogue with you about a pretty large-scale project we're going to be doing over the course of the next, Josh hopes, 10 years or more, around next-generation learning challenges. We want to kind of start the conversation by setting up a little bit about why we're doing this, frame a dialogue around what it's going to look like, and engage you a bit. But to set that up, I want to kind of get our mindset together around this. We spent a lot of today talking about the challenges of our existing models, talking about some new innovations, and really beginning to think differently. And part of what we're trying to do here is to get people to think differently. Late in the day, I want to get you engaged right away, get you thinking about this the way we need to think about it in our conversations with educators. We use this exercise all the time. It's a neuroscience exercise. We need you to clear both of your hands. You'll be using both of your hands in this. So clear your hands, all devices down. iPads, iPods, Windows phones, all the rest. Okay, this is a neuroscience exercise that really kind of talks about engagement. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to put both of your hands in the air like this. You're going to clap them together hard and leave them there. Good. Rub them up and down. Now clasp them together and put them in your lap. Now look down at your hands. And how many of you, by a show of hands, have your right thumbs on top? Raise your hand if your right thumb is on top. Look around the room to get a sense here of the right thumbers. Okay, hands down. How many of you have your left thumbs on top? Raise your hand. Look around the room, folks. Okay, put your hands back down. You're getting where some of this is coming. When the neuroscientists were studying this, they were studying something called autonomic functioning. It has to do with the fact that our brain loves to go on autopilot. We like to get things wired. We like to have it down. You have some core autonomic functions you have no control over. If you sneeze, you'll close your eyes. You have some rote autonomic functions that happen over time. They even have some interesting ones where they say that your sleep positions are actually correlated to how you were positioned in the womb, right? But you have things that you know, you get with this. This is when your brain goes on autopilot because you have things wired so much. Things like you arrive at work after a 30-minute drive and you don't remember a thing about the drive you just took, right? My favorite is you get out of the shower, you were naked, you still have no idea if you washed your hair or not, okay? Because your brain is on autopilot. Now, this is an autonomic function. You'll do it the same way every single time based on how your hands come together and how you've done it over time. When they were looking for the correlates on this, when the neuroscientists and the graduate students were looking for the correlates, what they thought would be related to your right thumb or left thumb, what did they postulate would be the dominant correlate? What would they think it'd be most related to? Handedness, right-handed or left. You just saw the data. Is it related to that? No. No, it's almost exactly 50-50, which kind of freaked them out. So they started investigating it more. And what do you think the next big hot theory was they went after? Left brain, right brain. Had to do left brain, right brain, right? No correlation to left brain, right brain. So they're more interested now. They started doing data mining and cluster analytics, putting together all the common behavioral profile characteristics of right thumbers and left thumbers, doing cluster profiles of these folks, Myers-Briggs, all the things you know well. And because the grad students had a lot of time on their hands, they really got into this. And the right thumbers, by the way, they have a great name for your group, if you're a right thumber. They call you the sexy people. You're the sexy people.
Excuse me?
You're the sexy people. Now, I saw some of you switching thumbs. You can't do that. Okay. The left thumbers, they have a great name for you as well. They call you the sneaky people. The sneaky people. Now, in a group this size, we are probably going to have anywhere between 1 and 5 people who put neither their right thumb nor their left thumb on top. They put their thumbs side by side. Did we get any of those? Raise your hand. So we got one. Actually, we had a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it was close in terms of my data. By the way, raise your hands again because the researchers say these are the people to watch, right? These are the ones who are sneaky about being sexy, right? I want you to know. Now, here's the meat of the exercise, okay? Put your hands back up. Clap them together. Rub them up and down. Put them back together. Put them in your lap. Now, bring them back up in front of your face and butterfly them out. And slowly put them back the other way with the other set of fingers interlaced and the other thumb on top and clasp it together, squeeze it, and put it in your lap. How does it feel? I feel it's wrong, awkward. Somebody said sexy. I heard that back there. Okay. I want you to viscerally get this feeling, because part of our challenge in working to transform higher education and leverage technology to do that is we have people who've put in 10, 20, 30, 40, sometimes 50 years of their lives into this thing called education. And we're suddenly talking about things like flipping the model, using intelligence engines, leveraging online technologies. How does it feel to them? Yeah. Doesn't feel sexy. Doesn't feel sexy. But I want you to feel this, because part of our challenge are not the people on the extremes, people who are just angry and people who are over the top supportive. It's dealing with people who are just, they have a base level of uncomfortableness with this because they kind of had it wired. And now we're asking to reinvent and change some things. And so part of what we have to do is really get into this notion of catalyzing some larger conversations and instigating some of this change and having them have a sense of ownership in this process, which is part of the reason we came to this notion of next generation learning challenges, which is a challenge of engaging the field and helping us think through what this transformation would look like. Josh, you might want to talk a little bit about the kind of background for that.
Sure, thanks, Mark. So that great setup to the mindset shift and where we're really coming from here. And what this initiative is about, and what this session is about, is we're going to share a little bit about the work that we're doing, but really we want to hear from you. We're not doing this initiative for us. I mean, as the Gates Foundation, we're really doing this for higher ed and for low-income young adults in this country to try and help more of them succeed in post-secondary. And so ultimately, that's both about getting ready for college and ultimately completing. And so, what we're really going to do today is get your input. And we'll have to share a little bit. And, another show of hands here. How many people have heard of the Next Generation Learning Challenges? All right, that's pretty good. How many people are in an institution who's applied to the Next Generation Learning Challenges? All right, and how many people are the applicant, the PI or co-PI? Okay, so we have some people who are deep into this work who probably know more about it than we do. And we have other people who are learning about it for the first time. And so a big part of the goal of this work is to make sure that we're reaching out to a broad network of folks and so we're hearing from people who are doing innovative things, and we're hearing from people who say, I want to learn more. I want to make that awkward feeling be less awkward. So help us learn what's going on, gather the evidence, create a community, and ultimately be able to take these initiatives from being technologies and ideas and islands of innovation to things that operate at large scale, serving lots of students, and ultimately changing their access to opportunity in this country.
Yeah, and a big part of this conversation, by the way, folks, is for us to really help in some way set a true north for why we're doing this. Why are we leveraging technology and thinking about changing the model of education? And part of the reason we're really diving into this is our focus, again, on giving people the chance to live healthy and productive lives and the power of education to do that. What you can really see is our work in the foundation is around improving the effectiveness of our primary and secondary schools to get people college ready. We want 80% at least college ready by the time they graduate high school, and to radically improve our completion rates in higher education so that more people have a pathway to possibility leveraging the world of education. What we know now is that 63% of the jobs are going to require some kind of post-secondary education. We've been talking about that all day. And we talked about in the morning session the fact that we're doing okay with our overall completion rates, but when you look at what's happening with low-income students, we're half as good, and when you go to first-generation low-income students, it goes down to about 11%. So we've got some real opportunities here to think about how we leverage all the arrows in our quiver to be able to hit this target, which is most of our students completing. Wouldn't you think it'd just be a reasonable goal to say we want most of the students that start higher education seeking some kind of a credential, not the ones who just come for some kind of avocational purpose, but the ones who come for a credential, don't you think it's reasonable to say we want most of them getting some kind of credential by the time they're done? Yeah. So for us, we want to help champion that process in some way so we can increase their attainment aspirations, increase enrollment. And what we have to figure out now is the challenge we're having right now is we have increasing attainment aspirations, we have increasing student enrollment, but we have declining funding streams. At the same time, we have all these expectations going up. So it means we're going to have to innovate. We're going to have to think a little bit differently about how we're going to move forward.